Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I hope that this video finds you not only in the best of health, that this finds you surrounded by your loved ones, but also that this video finds you in a space where you can reflect upon and you have been choosing to reflect upon the blessing that is the blessing of being able to see another Ramadan. So, what does the sense of community entail? It entails a sense of sacrifice. It entails having a favorable opinion about each other. It entails trusting each other. And it also entails a sense of give and take. Because as humans, we have a very inherent habit that we only want what is best for us, but we will be happy to give what is second best, what is very poor quality, what we don't really want or need to the other person. But the Prophet ﷺ never did this. He would keep very little for himself and give the best, not only to his companions, to the esteemed people in the society, but to the weakest and the most marginalized and the most dispossessed in the society. So we have a model in front of us. We have a model because we engage with his life, but how much do we truly internalize? So if we look at the idea of mutual love and empathy, it automatically leads us to the other idea, which is the idea of Islam. And the idea of Islam is very interesting because we live in a very individualistic world. We live in a world where we often end up saying that, look, this is my business, this is not your business. Even as Muslims हम कभी कभी कह देते हैं कि मतलब ये तो मेरे और अल्लाह ताला के बीच में है, आप इसे मत घुसिए. But the idea of Islam, bounded as it is with ethics, bounded as it is with a sense of kindness that it has to come with, not from a place of contempt or cruelty, is imperative to the idea of community because you have to help each other out. You have to keep each other from sinning. This is the most important part of it. The idea of community, the very real sense of community is a check, is a balance on the very individual tendency to sin. As humans, we are prone to mistakes. And as humans, we are also prone to bad company. But the idea of self-purification, when it goes from being an individual self-purification to being a Jamaati tazkiyah, to a sense of community self-purification, and it does two things. It keeps us safe and it also ensures that the community is on the right path. And why is this important? Why is the idea of growth, of progress, of a community important? Because as individuals, if we insist on being on our own and doing our own thing, there is a possibility that we will be able to influence, that our sphere of influence will extend to, say, our family, our friends, and in the era of social media to maybe a few thousand people. But individuals come and individuals go. That is the reality of frail humanity. They cannot do what an organized set of people can do. And that is why it is important that we ensure the sense of mutuality. And the sense of collectivity, the ideal of collectivity is not about outward unity, but it is a method that welds the hearts of believers together. It is a method where I, as a believer, would want you not only to get the best in life and in your akhirah, but also that I would want you not to make a mistake. So it is an expectation that we should have of the other person, that if I make a mistake, you correct me. If you make a mistake, I will correct you. And this has to come from a place of ethics. This has to come from a sense of privacy. It should not be done with the wrong intentions. But the sense of community overall is something that we should emphasize on. It is a faith that binds us. As one hadith narrated through Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu says that you cannot be true believers unless you love one another. And this sense of love is a very deep sense of love that is truly lost in our society in a very consumerist, very materialistic, and a very shallow sense of love and affection. So this sense of love that the Prophet ﷺ had for his companions, for instance, is an example for us to look up to. And so to summarize, strong relationships are both a blessing of Allah Ta'ala and also an effort that we have to undertake. It is an effort, it is an active effort which we have to undertake for the sake of Allah Ta'ala. And similarly, we are enjoined to practice forgiveness. When we are humans, we are bound to make mistakes. We are bound to hurt each other. But it is important to forgive. It is important to move on. And it is important to rebuild and maintain relationships. So finally, the values of trust, the values of nasiha, the values of mercy, sacrifice, ihsan, forgiveness, all these are vital to a believer. Jazakallahu khair.